This episode of Badass Agents Podcast is brought to you by Jason Smith team at Nova Home Loans. Jason, a Navy veteran, has been recognized as one of the top 100 loan originators in the country. There is no task too big or too small for the Jason Smith team. Every client counts. For the best rates and great service, contact Jason at 480-227-6231 or visit novahomeloans.com. I personally stand by his service, and so do thousands of satisfied clients. That's Jason Smith at Nova Home Loans, NMLS number 210839. Because I decided to push myself towards that vision. So don't get overwhelmed by the thought. It's scary. I get it. I understand. It's painful. And it gets worse before it gets better. But if you keep on your game, you will realize it. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo. As you come on board, please check in with me. Check in and let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's going on in your mind. It's the day after Super Bowl, and I got to tell you, the gym was empty today. Some people take this as a holiday, as a celebration, to a point where they excuse themselves from committing or doing what they committed to. It also happens to be one of the biggest days people call in. The celebration is huge, right? And for me, it was the same routine, doing the same things that have gotten me the success that I have, and it's going to continue to the successes I will have in the future. One thing about success that I've realized is that it never stops, right? If your perspective continues to change, you will strive for more. Where I am with my marriage, I never thought it could come to this level, right? The level of just a deep connection emotionally, mentally, physically. It's at a different level than what I thought a marriage could be, which is very different, right? When I first started seeking some outside perspective back in, I think that the extreme darkness for me hit again back in 2013. Where, if people would just ask us or look at us, we would tell them that we were happily married, because our notion of being happily married was the number of years we were able to tolerate each other. Okay? And I said that correctly. The number of years we were able to tolerate each other, which meant it was just we were measuring success by the number of years, right? But yet we were both going down this path that we were unhappy. We were unhappy with ourselves. Thus, we were unhappy with each other. And it's real easy to just blame the next person, the other person, your spouse, the person you're in a relationship with, and you are unhappy. You can blame and lay blame on the other person, saying that if they would change, if they were someone else, you would not have these problems. So that's where we found ourselves. But from the outside in, it was like, oh, they've been together, so many years. They've been married 10 years. They're happily married. And, the same thing could be said in other aspects of my life. I have two daughters, and I supplied for them, right? I gave them a roof over their head. They never went hungry. I gave them all the things that they needed and above that. And most people could say, hey, he's a good family man. But yet I was just a man that happened to have a family. I wasn't that gentleman. I wasn't that guy that was connected, right? I wasn't connected. I paid the bills. That doesn't necessarily make me a family man. So there was a lot of measurements that I knew I was out of integrity. And there's some measurements in your life that you can see visibly, right? See and prove it to others that things are successful, which are maybe your bank account. The results are black and white. You can show that success to others by simply showing them your bank account. And you could also show it physically. You either been paying a lot of attention to your physical health or you haven't. It's very visible. But when it goes layers beyond that, right, with marriage, it's hard to measure. You can assume, but it's hard to measure. With parenting, you can do the same thing. Mental health, it's hard to measure. And for me, it was one of these things that people look at my success now, which is not a fraction of what others are doing. Don't get me wrong. And it's not a fraction of where I'll be in 5 years. But from where I was to where I am, it is a very successful story. It is a success story. From where I was in 2013 to where I am today, it is a success story, and I will own it. And each one of us has the ability to create that success story. There's different levels, right? There's different measurements. I measure it on all things. When we talk about connection with my wife, right? Our marriage, the connection I have with my daughters, how I take care of my body, how I take care of my mind, the way I perform in my business. I would consider that a success story. Others may not. Others may call it he's just getting started, and that's okay. But in my life, through my eyes, it is a success story. And it doesn't come as easy as like, wow, that's really neat. You must be so lucky, which I got a comment, right? I purchased a vehicle 2 weeks ago, and I get these comments, these private messages. What they don't realize is the extreme pain that I was in 2013. They don't understand that during Christmas, 2 weeks before Christmas, was probably the darkest time of my life. And that is the exact time that I decided to fly out of Phoenix to a seminar 2 weeks before Christmas, where most people were looking forward to time off, where most people were connected at home. I was disconnected. Carla had enough. She was out the door. What people don't see about your successes is what it takes to get here. They just assume from the outside. And it's okay to make those assumptions, right? They see you in your car, in your house, in your marriage, and they make these assumptions. What they don't realize is what it takes to get there. And one of the questions that I often ask myself was, who do I have to become? Who do I have to become to be the person I am today? It was started out with a vision. It just didn't happen by accident. I wanted a marriage on fire. I wanted the things that I have in my life. I wanted this connection with my daughters. I wanted to be physically strong and healthy. I wanted to feel purpose-driven, which was something that was not part of my vocabulary. I had good days and I had really bad days. I was never really purpose-driven, where I was excited about life day in and day out. If I had a good day, I felt lucky. But most days were caught up on this whole notion that my life was not what it's supposed to be. The comparison game. Others are doing it much greater than I am. That's where my mind was caught up. I had this gaping hole in my soul, not being able to fulfillment or appreciative of the things and the people that I had in my life. So when this question was posed on me, who do I have to become? I had to unravel that a few more layers because I didn't even know who I was, who I am. In order to get what you want, you have to discover who you are first and foremost. And we realize that there's a pattern that continues to rear its ugly head anytime we try to strive for more. So the question of who do I have to become is a great one, but first is, who are you? And when I asked myself those questions, I was lost because I didn't know. I didn't pay enough attention to the patterns, to the behaviors, to the mental dysfunctions that I was constantly battling. Had to start with digging. Had to be met with perspective. I had to be supported by an environment that challenged me so that I can have the courage to discover why I do what I do and why I would build and then burn down, why I would build and not appreciate, why I would avoid pain, conflict, why I would shut down. I needed to discover those things first and then begin the process of conditioning myself to overcome. And if we start reflecting on our own lives and we start thinking about the things we don't have, what is it that you're not doing, and where those patterns stem from? For me, a lot of it had to do with childhood, traumatic events. What I witnessed, what I experienced, what I saw. So slowly, that gaping hole I mentioned started to disappear when I would simply take some time to discover why I do the things that I do and why I shut down and why I can't find the fulfillment and love and patience and appreciation for life. And it's not a process or a journey that just happens overnight. I wish it did. It's a journey that makes you feel like you're going backwards. It's a process that most can't endure. They'd rather avoid it and pretend the issues are not there. Not knowing that it's only accumulating in the background. And it's going to get to a point where you can't get out of it. Midlife crisis? Yeah. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's a real thing. Because you can only avoid it for so long until it just comes tumbling all on top of you. Like an avalanche. And it's so massive you can't dig yourself out. And most people don't discover that until it's too late, until they're divorced, until they have massive health problems, until the desire for life has completely dissipated. The game of success is no easy task. But coming up short is not any better. In fact, it's worse. But it does start with a simple process of discovering who you are, because what I have today, what people don't realize from that moment in December of 2013, it was 2014 of heartache. It was 2015 of disappointments. It was 2016 of frustration. 2017 of doubt. 2018 of wanting to quit. It's not luck. It's a testament. It's a testament that I could become someone I thought I couldn't be. A testament of becoming someone I thought I couldn't be. But always knew I was born to be. And I think that's this disparity. What I didn't realize is that gaping hole in my soul was knowing that I wasn't playing up to the level I was born to be. I had someone ask me this past weekend. He says, what was the aha moment that I discovered how to measure success? Real simple question, but it's loaded. What was the aha moment that I discovered how to measure success? Again, how do you measure marriage? The way I measured it, 10 years married, that wasn't success. My health, I thought by working out, I was good, but I wasn't paying attention to the alcohol I was consuming, and that became rampant in my life. Again, I had children, but that didn't necessarily make me a family man. How do you measure success? I'm going to tell you how you measure success right here. How you feel. How you feel. Simple, right? And that's hard to measure. And others will try to have you measure your success through their bank account, through other things, but it's how you feel. That gaping hole in my soul is gone because I feel fulfilled. I feel purpose-driven. I feel delighted to be alive, excited. I feel appreciation in my soul. and with so much gratitude for life and my journey. That's how I measure success. But that came on the back of many, many years of the hard work, monotonous, painful work. So there's two things that we have to ask ourselves on a consistent basis. Is who am I? And who do I need to become? And the first question will show the appreciation of who you are today and what you've endured, what you've experienced, what you've overcome. The second one will pull you forward to the person you were born to be. What I have in my vision is scary. As a matter of fact, I felt overwhelmed and anxious because a vision came upon me and I was like, how in the hell am I going to become that person? I told my guys, I'm like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling a little off. I'm feeling a little anxious. Because that vision just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I got scared. I was a little afraid. Because who I am right now is not good enough to be able to accomplish that. Which means there's a lot of hard work ahead of me. And then there's another part of me that says, well, for what? What's the point? We're all going to die one day. I can't take any of this stuff with me. To that I'd answer, what's the alternative? To get bored? Because I know how dangerous I become when I'm bored. You know how dangerous you become when you're bored. You don't make the right decisions. You don't show love, patience. In fact, it's the complete opposite. And you know that. I decided to just be in that place, feeling all that anxiety, that fear, like, holy shit, why is this coming to mind? Because who I am right now, I just can't create that right now. I just can't. And I let it settle. And I said, okay, got a lot of work to do. I will not tuck my tail between my legs. I will not shelter by the fear. I'm going to rise up to it. And some of you, as you made career changes into this industry, what you want may seem overwhelming to a point it shuts you down. Rise up and realize you just envisioned your future. You just saw it. That is a real possibility. This building was only a vision that overwhelmed me. How am I going to get there? I'm barely making it. It's not profitable. To now it's a reality. 2.5 weeks away. But what is my new standard? My new threshold today was something way above me just 4 or 5 years ago, just 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. It is my threshold now. This is where I operate today. This is who I am today. So the same vision, I made it to reality because I envisioned it. It was a possibility and I made it a reality. There was another reality to completely shut down and be complacent of what I have and where I'm at. Complacency kills momentum, ambition, drive, purpose. It's not about the money. It's about realizing if I push myself there, I will push myself in all aspects of my life. That's why the connection with my daughters is where it's at today. They love Dad. Because I decided to push myself towards that vision. So don't get overwhelmed by the thought. It's scary. I get it. I understand. It's painful. And it gets worse before it gets better. But if you keep on your game, you will realize it. It's divine. It really is divine. To be able to picture exactly how we want life and then go after it. And it's happened to all of us. When you wanted something so bad, it was always on your mind. And you got it. But for some reason, we stop from envisioning things because we're so overwhelmed by the complexities of life that we forget what got us into this game to begin with. We forget why we got married to begin with, why we had children, why we wanted to lose the weight, why we wanted to be happy. We forget all those things because of the complexities of life. And children, they're able to just say their desires. They have no idea what they're going to become, what they're excited for. But yet, as we grow in age, it seems like that's lost and out the window. Who do you need to become? That's the question I need you to ask yourself today and moving forward. That vision, those targets are yours. They're yours for the taking. But it's not going to happen under the terms and conditions that you think they should be under. You have to overcome. You have to endure. You have to outlast. Then and only then it becomes a possibility. Then and only then it becomes a reality. A new threshold. Only for you to stand taller or higher on the hill and see something even greater beyond that. This is not the epitome of where I'm getting. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. And where I'm going next is scary as hell. It shut me down. I'm telling you. But I'm leaning in. And I'm asking you to do the same thing. Because whatever obstacles or problems you have before you is just a fraction of what you'll be able to handle moving forward. But you got to get through this. You can't allow this to stop you. You can't allow your momentum to be completely obliterated by a simple problem. Get out of that. The next level is going to present more. More opportunity, but more problems. So learn how to deal with them. So who do I need to become? But let's start dissecting of who you are first and foremost. Make sure to constantly put that deposit towards your purpose. Self-development. 2013, I refer to that date often because that was a radical shift in my life. A radical shift in my perspective. It shattered everything I thought life was during that experience. My life has never been the same ever since. The old me slowly died. And a new one continues to rise from that each and every day. What are you hearing in this conversation? I am. More importantly, who do I need to become? So much gratitude, so much appreciation for you to even join me today. But I think it's a conversation we all have to dissect and dive into. Because if you don't have what you want in life, you got to discover what it is that's stopping you. And then learn to build capacity to that. Or the next level will always just be a dream. And not a reality. Nick, discovering who you are, powerful. Miguel, thank you very much for this. I appreciate you joining me. Good morning, Gabe. I like what you said about your future vision being scary. This means you've set visions and goals that are still out of your comfort zone. I was paralyzed. Man, I just couldn't get out of it. Because a part of you just wants to relax, right? I mean, you've worked so hard. You've done so many things. Your life has improved so much. And then this other vision comes, and it's like, God, does this ever stop? But the game is not about stopping. It's not about that. It's about realizing we only have one crack at this. One. And we got to be able to reach that person we were born to be. And with success, I mean, comes a lot of responsibility. Angel, thank you. I sometimes get overwhelmed thinking of how successful I want to be in real estate. As a brand new agent, this helps me to keep going and not shut down and go for the future. I envision that and meet the guy I want to be. Yeah, it's amazing, right? Carla and I always refer to, the old me as that other guy, right? Because it's a radical change. And some people attach themselves to the same person they were 10, 15 years ago. And that shows very little growth. I can't still take responsibility for the person I was. I will not take the shame, the embarrassment. I will not take any of that of who I was before. I'm liberated from all that because I've showcased I can be a completely different man every day. And with that, it is forgiven. With that, it is my life is expanded. So yeah, it's like looking back and meeting that new guy, or killing, per se, the old guy. Killing the mindset, killing the perspectives that person had. Rudy, being broke is hard. Having relationships in the dumps is hard. Your body not being what it needs to be is hard. We have to pick our hard every morning. It's hard to put the work in on all these things, but the pursuit of happiness and fulfillment is always worth the hard work. Thank you for that. You're welcome, Rudy. I hope this serves all of you, and understand that, we all go through these experiences. We all get overwhelmed. We all ask ourselves, like, how am I supposed to become this person here? And if we do the right things every day, you'll get closer, and then it becomes your reality. Then becomes your new threshold, right? And one thing that I promise you is that I will never, ever be complacent. I don't promise leads. I don't promise a lot of things, but what I do promise is that I will not be complacent. I will continue to strive for more and deliver more. Okay. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Again, I hope it serves you, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider. This episode of Badass Agents Podcast is brought to you by Jason Smith team at Nova Home Loans. Jason, a Navy veteran, has been recognized as one of the top 100 loan originators in the country. There is no task too big or too small for the Jason Smith team. Every client counts. For the best rates and great service, contact Jason at 480-227-6231 or visit novahomeloans.com. I personally stand by his service, and so do thousands of satisfied clients. That's Jason Smith at Nova Home Loans. NMLS number 210839.